That day we did public services. That is the first lesson of your civic book. So we did the first part, and today we are going to do the second part of that, timely importance of public services. Okay Putala, that day we learnt about what the public services are, but today we are going to learn about timely importance of public services. Okay Putala, before I enter into this part, I would like to discuss about the timely importance of public services. Now you all are in the modern world, but your ancient people, that means your grandparents and all, they belong for their society. So usually they had list of needs. While we are comparing our needs and all, so we can see they had less of desires and all. But here the globalization, with the globalization and the population, we have lots of needs while we are comparing their needs also. So timely importance of public services are really high. Now here provisions of services is an important requirement currently in upgrading in the living conditions of the people. Okay, those days, that mean in our past Sri Lanka, old Sri Lanka, that mean our grandparents, that is their on, that mean in their generation, especially father was the main person in their society. Nowadays also the same thing, but nowadays we can see parents, that mean both they are going for their jobs and all, they are doing jobs. But those period, they didn't they had a very simple lifestyle. While we are comparing our lifestyle, less of desires and all. So living conditions of the people, now that means our living conditions are really high while we are comparing with their lifestyle. So as a welfare stage, government carries out several public services in order to fulfill its function. Government provides these services without expecting any profit in return. Private sector supplies these services on the basics of charging money. Okay, now you know there, if we take as the first one government sector, and if we take as the second one, we can take private sector. Okay, and now you can see here Putte, that day also we discuss, if it is a private sector, surely we have to pay for them and we have to get the service from them, otherwise we can't afford the service from them. But the government, especially if we take the government hospital, we don't want to pay for them. They are giving everything for us, especially they are treating nicely and everything they are giving, but they are not expecting any profit in return. But if you go for a private hospital, surely you have to pay for each and everything, even the cotton bud also, then you have to get them, otherwise they won't provide it to you. Private sector supplies these services on the basics of charging money, but both of them are giving public services. That's the service. Complexity of bonds and the increase in population have resulted in an increase in the necessity of public services further. Public services are also important in providing relief for the people who cannot afford them. As the example, we can get free education, health services likewise. Now already I have explained it to you. So the public services in our period also, we have heard the statement Sri Lanka is a developing country. Nowadays also it's the same thing is going on, because there are a lot of middle class families and we can see lower class families as well. So as Sri Lankans, we don't have money to spend, especially to get the education and the health services. So for that we have to get the support from the government. That's what we have to go for, free education and the government hospitals and all, government health services. So that's really good. So the public services are also important in providing relief for the people who cannot afford them. Now Putala, many services have developed fast due to the industrial and technological development. Services like communication can be taken as an example for this. A large amount of expenditure has to be borne in order to provide these facilities. These services are essential for the people. Okay. Now, many services have developed fast due to the industrial and technological development. Now, you know about this. We are calling, in another word, we can say globalization, industrial and technological development. So, services like communication can be taken as an example for this. A large amount of expenditure has to be brought in order to provide these facilities. These services are essential for the people. Okay, now you know here, you can see there's a picture, a communication tower. From this you are getting signals, especially Wi-Fi data, each and everything you are getting from these signal towers, communication towers. A communication satellite. Common features of public services, okay, whether it is a private sector or else whether it is related for government sector, but there are common features can be seen both of them. Ability to utilize in common without any dissimilarity. Okay, ability to utilize in common without any dissimilarity. Okay, all the same. Intention to maintain public welfare rather than earning profits. Okay, intention to maintain public welfare rather than earning profit. All are given public service. Improving the qualitative development of people's living conditions. Actually, Putala, nowadays public services, that means public services really important. It took an important place of our lives because that means qualitative development of people's living conditions can be seen. Easily obtainable for the low income earners. We discussed contribution to the social development through individual development. Supporting to fulfill basic needs. Now we know. Okay, just think about your supermarket, village boutique. They are return. That means they are expecting a return. That means they are expecting profit in return. But they are giving a service for you. That's what we can take, supporting to fulfill basic needs. Okay, now just think about this pandemic situation. You want to buy household items to your home, so you have to go for the supermarket and you have to get the support from them. So you can't, that means you have to get the support from them. Okay, so otherwise you have to stay hungry. So likewise, just think about the village boutique or the supermarket. So now you can think about the public services, what they are giving for you. Functioning a system of rules and regulations to safeguard and maintain public services. Okay, functioning a system of rules and regulation to safeguard and maintain public services. Now Putala, here there's an activity. List separately the difficulties you would face if you happen to obtain electricity and transport facilities individually. Okay. Now you can think about this. If you have to get these things individually, so you have to spend lot of money. So especially we don't have that much money to spend for electricity transport. Nowadays we can see, because each and every people they have their own vehicle, but most of people they don't have. But especially electricity also, it have to spend lot of money for electricity. Public services in our area, water supply. Okay, now just think about your home. Okay, you are getting water from water taps and all. So if we take that one also a public service. Water is a resource essential for all living beings. It is also a limited resource, even though 70% of the surface of earth is covered with water. Now Putala, you learned these things you were in grade 7 for your geography book. Okay, 70% of earth's surface is covered with water. Only less than 1% of quantity can be utilized as drinking water. Sri Lanka is an island situated in the Indian Ocean. Although it has many rivers, streams and inland reservoirs, only a limited quantity of such water can be used for drinking. Therefore, the government has to provide water for drinking as well as for other purposes. Okay. Now here we have, that means around you can see rivers, streams, and especially many more water labs and all you can see. So but only a limited quantity of such water can be used for drinking. So therefore, the government has provided water from water supply and drainage board. You have to pay for them, but that as well as for other purposes. So reasons for the requirement of supply of water as a public service. Okay, now we are going to learn what are the reasons for the requirement of supply water as a public service. Now, water resource is not sufficiently available in common to satisfy the requirements of all the regions of the island. Okay, Putta, now here, water resource is not sufficiently available in common to satisfy the requirements of all the regions of the island. That's the reason. Okay, so due to the various reasons, underground water and water in the rivers are polluted. Okay, now here those who are living in villages and all, they have wells around them and some water labs also, streams around them, so they can go for those places and they can collect water for the house, that means especially their houses and all, and they can supply water for drinking and they can use everything. But those some people, especially for urbanized areas, the people who are living in urban areas, they don't have water. So that's what government provide water. Due to the various reasons, underground water and water in the rivers are polluted. Okay, now here use of agrochemicals, chemical fertilizers and waste matter released to water sources by factories. Okay, now here Putte, now you know some people, they are facing these kind of problems nowadays. Use of agrochemicals. So if the water is polluted with agrochemicals, so we can't use that water for, especially we can't drink even. Chemical fertilizers. So we have to get the water, clean water from the water supply and drainage board. Density of population in the urban areas we discussed. With the increase of population, land has to be divided into small plots, causing difficulty in digging wells for clean water. Okay, with the increase of population, land has to be divided into small plots. Okay, in all the Sri Lanka, we had freedom while we are comparing nowadays. Okay, so nowadays we can see small flats and all. That means some people, they don't have home garden also, that much limited space they have, but all the people, they had big home gardens. Okay, so they had clean air while they are comparing nowadays. So likewise, the people who are in villages, they can dig a well for get the clean water. But with the increase of population, especially the people who are living in urban areas, so they that means their land also divided into small plots, so causing difficulty in digging wells for clean water. So that's what I said, they have to get the support from the government, that means from the water supply and drainage board to get the water. Facing scarcity of water in various parts of the country during the periods of droughts. Okay, some places in Sri Lanka, they are facing droughts, that means many times in the year. So they have to get the support from the government. National Water Supply and Drainage Board supplies drinking water to many parts of the country. We know it supplies water to consumers at concessionary rates, that means for lower rates, affordable price. Water Supply and Drainage Board strives hard to make water suitable for human consumption. Water is supplied to industries, garden, etc. too. Considering the needs of the particular area in their territory, some local bodies too supply drinking water. Okay, now here the regional officers of the Water Supply and Drainage Board fulfill the functions of supplying water, repairing and maintenance. Now you can see here That means I think you have noticed these people on the road. Staff of the regional officers of the water supply and drainage board consist of regional engineer, officer in charge, meter readers. These people are coming to your home, plumbers, laborers. Okay, there's an activity. Explain briefly the factors that lead drinkable water to supply to become a timely requirement. Now you know. Health service. The health service of Sri Lanka contributes to build up a healthy nation. Nowadays, it takes a big part because of this ongoing pandemic situation. They are giving such a valuable service. Prevention of diseases and curing of illness are the basic functions fulfilled by the health service. Since the health service is an essential service, the government has provided facilities for the supply of health services free of charge. As I told you already, they are giving everything for free. But if you go for a private hospital, you have to pay for even a cotton bud. That's the thing. At present, Sri Lanka has been able to bring the infant mortality rate and the maternal mortality rate to a lower level. It has been able to control diseases such as leprosy, polio, filariasis and tuberculosis to large extent. Recently, the World Health Organization, that means WHO, they will ask in your term test to write the full form of WHO. Then you have to write World Health Organization. Declared that Sri Lanka is one of the countries that was able to eradicate malaria completely. Given below are some reasons for the achievement of such good conditions. Provision of free health services by the government, progress achieved by the health service of Sri Lanka, availability of health facilities island-wide, public cooperation. Okay. Now these are the some reasons for the achievement of such good conditions of our country. Okay. Now provisions of free health services by the government. We can see provincial hospitals, especially MOH also. Progresses achieved by the health services of Sri Lanka. We know. Availability of health services island-wide, health facilities island-wide. Public cooperation. Functions fulfilled by the health service. Now here, these are the functions fulfilled by the health service. Treating patients, implementing programs to prevent and control diseases, especially non-communicable diseases. Now you can remind what are the communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases. If we take COVID-19, so we can get it as communicable disease because that can be spread by a virus, that's a viral fever. So while if we take diabetic, cholesterol, so likewise we can get those are non-communicable diseases. Okay. Implementation of immunization programs. Conducting medical clinics. Conducting maternity clinics, MOH. Carrying out experiments to diagnose diseases, implementing health education programs, launching medical and dental clinics for school children, implementation of family health service programs for mothers and infants, carrying out emergency services. Okay, now these are the services which are given from our health service. Medical systems such as Western, allopathy, indigenous, Siddha, Unani and homeopathy are practiced throughout the island. Now you know, that means in other words we can say for indigenous medicine we can get Ayurvedic medicine. There are Ayurvedic hospitals island wide also we can get. So these days we are using some Ayurvedic, that means herbal drinks to maintain our immunity. Okay. So hospitals established to treat patients under Western medical system. Okay, national hospitals. You know, there's a national hospital in Colombo and Kandy also. There are national hospitals. Teaching hospitals, provincial hospitals, district hospitals, base hospitals, regional hospitals, specific hospitals, primary health treatment institutions. These are the hospitals which are established to treat patients under Western medical system. But here, services implemented by the health service under the Western medical system for the prevention of diseases. Okay, now here to treat patients under Western medical system, but here service under the Western medical system for prevention diseases. Okay, anti-leprosy campaign of Sri Lanka, anti-malaria campaign of Sri Lanka, epidemiology unit, family health bureau, health education bureau, national cancer prevention and control campaign, especially Apeksha Cancer Hospital, national dengue control unit, national program for the control of tuberculosis and the chest diseases, the national STD AIDS control program, STD sexually transmitted diseases, especially gonorrhea and all, so we can get them as sexually transmitted diseases. The Non-Communicable Diseases Control Center. So Putala, from these things, from this institute, they tell you, they learn you how to prevent from these kind of diseases, especially sex. Nowadays we can see there are many diseases which are related for sexually transmitted diseases, and especially just like cancers, especially dengue. So these things are nowadays these are common diseases, and from these institutes they tell you how to prevention from these kind of diseases. For preventing non-communicable diseases, primary health facility centers, Suvadivi centers, by 2015 have been established and are functioning. Officers are of the medical officers of health, MOH. These are very important. You have to underline the full form of MOH. Established covering all the areas of the country in order to provide health facilities. You know, especially pregnancies, especially to get second month vaccine, fourth month vaccine, especially not only like that. To get some vaccines also, we have to go for MOH. Some examples of the services provided by the Office of the Medical Officer Health in your area are given below. Okay. Implementation of programs to prevent infection diseases or infection diseases. Nowadays, the medical officer of the medical of your area, he is giving more advices, and he is the person who is involving with this COVID-19 pandemic situation, and he tell you to how to improve your immunity, how to boost up your immunity and all. So these are the implementation programs to prevent infectious diseases. Implementation of programs to prevent and control non-communicable diseases. Now here we know what are the non-communicable diseases. If we take as diabetic, cholesterol, so all those things are coming under non-communicable diseases, because those are not communicable diseases. Those diseases cannot be spread one person to another. Those things can get a person because of his or her behavior patterns, eating habits and all, bad eating habits, less of exercises. Implementation of health education programs, conducting infant and maternal health clinic, immunization, implementation of school health programs. Health services are provided to your area by the indigenous hospitals and clinics too. These institutions provide treatment to cure diseases. Government has provided facilities to supply these services free of charge. We can see many more Ayurvedic hospitals around the country. So from those hospitals, they are giving everything for free. That means free of charge. So at present, indigenous medical system is becoming popular among foreigners too. Institutions maintained by the indigenous medical system: Ayurvedic teaching hospital, Ayurvedic research hospitals, Ayurvedic hospitals maintained by the provincial councils, Ayurvedic center dispensaries maintained by the provincial councils, free Ayurvedic dispensaries maintained by the local government bodies. Now you know. In addition, traditional indigenous medical practitioners do a great service to the public through their treatments. Private sector also contributes to provide health facilities on the basis of charging money. We know about that, whether it is a private sector or else whether it is a government sector, they are doing a public service. But the thing is, private sector, they are giving a public service, but they are charging money. The health service of Sri Lanka has achieved a great improvement. However, non-communicable diseases such as heart diseases, diabetes, kidney diseases, and cancers are increasing rapidly at present. Many people fall sick due to smoking and drug addiction. The people who addicted for smoking and drug addiction, surely they will get cancer in future. Actions to be taken by the public in order to prevent these diseases. Okay, Putala. Now these are the actions which are taken by the public in order to prevent these diseases. Following medical advice, following good health habits, consumption of healthy food and drinks, not the artificial, especially junk foods, engaging in exercises adequately, refraining from smoking and intoxicants. Now there's an activity. Name the staff of the hospital and the office of the medical officer of health, MOH, according to their designation. List separately the services rendered by the hospital and the office of the medical officer of health in preventing infectious and non-communicable diseases in your area. You know now. You know how to write the answers. Now another important one is education. Now you can see here, there's a picture. There are some students. These students are studying in a primary class, and here this is a university education. That means this is so we can get just like as a convocation. The most valuable resource of a country is the human resource. That's what nowadays you can see government, they are putting lockdown for each and every area, and the other one is they are vaccinated all the people of the country, because the most valuable resource of a country is the human resource. That's the reason they are giving more priority to protect the human resource of a country. Education is important as the main factor that influences the advancement and the well-being of the human resource. The right to education is recognized as a human right as well as right of the child. Each and every child, they have a right to get the education. Several steps taken by the government to ensure the right to education are given below. Do you know, Putala, some children under 18, so they are that means they are just like employers. They are not going to school, but that's not the thing, because as a child, each and every child, they have right to get education. Otherwise, that's a illegal case. So several steps taken by the government to ensure the right to get education are given below. Providing education free of charge from primary education to higher education. Education has been made compulsory for the children up to 16 years of age. Allocating a large sum of money for the education from the annual budget. So okay, now if you have a good idea about the annual budget, you can have a get idea about this, because they are spending lot of money, that means they are allocating a large sum of money for the education. Free distribution of school textbooks and uniforms. Providing a wholesome meal for school children identified as needy with nutrients. Especially I have noticed there are some schools in Sri Lanka which are situated in rural, that much rural. The people who are that means the people who have low income. So those areas, government providing a wholesome meal for school children. Taking steps to develop nearly 7,000 schools to enhance the concept that the nearest school is the best. Okay, have you heard this word? Langama Pasala, Hondama Pasala. Private schools, higher education institutes, and vocational training institutions are run by the private sector too. Okay. Now, children, you can think like that. After the that means after your A levels, you have to go for universities. So otherwise, you can't do anything. No, you know there are some higher education institutes as well around you, and the vocational training institutions. From these institutions, they are teaching you many more things, especially how to, that mean, you know, there are people who are engaging in that mean as automobile mechanics and all, electrical mechanics, especially beauticians and all. From those institutes, they are giving you a vocational qualifications to do a job. Okay. So early childhood developing centers are conducted for preschool children by the local bodies, voluntary organization, religious institutions and the private sector. Now here, early childhood development centers are conducted for preschool children, okay, by the local bodies, and there are voluntary organizations. Voluntary organization means they are not taking money. That means free of charge. Religious institutions and the private sector. Draw your attention to the description given by the following persons regarding their education and development. Okay, now we are going to talk about these people. I am a music teacher from my childhood. I loved to sing songs and recite poems. However, it is my teachers who improved my skills. I entered the university after passing my A levels from the village school. Okay, now here she had her education from the village school. After that, she entered the university. I was able to obtain a degree in music. Free education helped me to achieve this status. I teach children very happily and enthusiastically. Now, this person. I am a chief inspector of police. I joined the police as a sub-inspector of police after passing my A levels from the village school. I was a clever sportsman at school. I succeeded in several provincial sports competitions. My school, my teachers and free education helped me to improve those skills. I consider it's my bounden duty to serve my motherland devotedly. Okay, all these people, what can you think about these people? They all got the education from the free education. I serve as a doctor in the hospital in our village from my childhood. It had been my dream to become a doctor. I received my primary education from my village school. I entered the central school after passing the grade 5 scholarship examination. I entered the medical faculty after passing A levels. Well, I received bursary also. Free education fulfilled my expectation. My determination is to serve my motherland, to repay for this. Okay, she is trying to repay for her country by giving service for the people because she got free education. In return, she is trying to repay for this by serving for her motherland. I respect my teachers with great regard. Okay, these three people had their education from the government education system. That means free of charge. Functions of education: providing latest knowledge, socialization, producing good citizens, foster national unity, producing citizens in conformity with the national requirements, producing citizens who can contribute effectively in the world of work and the field of economy, developing competencies in fulfilling responsibilities while enjoying rights connected to them. Okay, these are the functions of education. Okay, latest knowledge, especially the globalization, and I think you don't have that much experience about all the people. That means there were some computers, especially there are 3 or more computers in our time for a school. Before our time, they didn't use any computer. Okay, but nowadays that has been an essential part of your subject, IT, and the socialization. As the function of the education, you will be socialization, producing good citizens, foster national unity, producing citizens in conformity with the national requirements, especially national requirements, producing citizens who can contribute effectively in the world of work and the field of economy. Each and every people, they are giving many more knowledge for you. Developing competencies in fulfilling responsibilities while enjoying rights connected to them. Your school is the main institution that provides education as a public service in your area. You got the opportunity of studying the staff of this school and its organizational structure in grade 6 under Civic book. Okay, now brought your mind, go to your grade 6 book so you can remember what you learned. Divisional Educational Office and the Zonal Educational Office are the closest institutions which support to maintain school activities properly and provide facilities for the school in your area. Can you remember the people, that means the people who are in the zonal educational office, they are coming to a school once a month or else 2 times per year. So they are checking how your educational condition is going on, and they are checking each and every teacher and your textbooks also somehow. So Divisional Educational Office consists of the Divisional Director of Education and his staff. So Zonal Education Office consists of the staff including the Zonal Director of Education, Deputy Directors and Assistant Directors for subject. Okay, so Zonal Education Office consists of the staff including Zonal Director of Education. Underline, these parts are very important. Deputy Directors and the Assistant Directors. For subject, each and every subject there are Assistant Directors as well. Okay, there's an activity. Note down the benefits that you can gain by working as an active member of the following organizations in your school. Membership organization, benefits you gain: literary association, religious association, debating team, board of prefects, sports club, cadet platoon, school band. Okay, collect information about some scholars who are serving the country through their properly gain. You have to write them. Transport. Maheshwari described to her best friend a trip in which she took part in the vacation. I proposed my father to go to Colombo by train during the vacation, but Aya suggested that we could hire a vehicle. Father questioned why we should spend much money when there are so many buses and trains available and suggested to go by train. Traveling by train is quite interesting, not tiresome, and the journey is also very quick. We stayed 3 days in Colombo. We went round to see all places, including the zoo, the planetarium, the harbour, and the museum. We travel by bus in Colombo, not only SLTV buses, but the private bus service was also very good. We returned to Jaffna also by train. Mother said that since we travel by trains and buses, our expenditure too was quite less. Okay, now here this there's a girl called Maheshwari. So she's she's saying her best friend a trip in which took part in the vacation. Okay, now she proposed her father to go to Colombo by train. Okay, during the vacation, but her ayah suggested that we would hire a vehicle. But suddenly father, he was disagreed because he said it takes that means have to spend a lot of money for that. So finally they selected to go by a train. Okay, so because why? So that is so they feel that's very comfortable and no need to spend lot of money. So public transport systems contribute to fulfill the transport requirements of the people of a country. Transport services are essential for the economic activities like production of goods, distribution and marketing. Do you know, Putala? So especially that means train. There are many trains which are selected, that means which are using for transporting goods, especially even the tripoche also, even the oil, lubricants also, many more things. They are that means the production of goods, especially not only that means likewise not for the economic activities, they are using transport services, especially distributing and marketing. Majority of the people in our country use the public transport system to fulfill their transport needs. Each and every that means each and every people, they don't have private vehicles by their own, so they have to use public transport. Public transport services are useful for requirements such as traveling to school, private travel and transport, traveling for employment, for travels and tours. Traffic congestions exist in urban areas, including the capital city. It has also become a timely requirement to use public transport system in order to reduce traffic congestion. Instead of using private vehicles, the use of public transport system saves money. Okay, you need to get the support from the public transport service to go to school, or else for your occupation and for travel and tours. So you have to get the support from the public transport service. So the traffic congestion exists in urban areas, including the capital city. Okay, so it has become a timely requirement to use a public transport system. Okay, now just like that, each and every people, they have a private vehicle by their own. So if they use it to go for a school and for travel to employment, and each and every purpose, if they use their private vehicle, so it will it makes a mess on the road. Okay, that means it makes a traffic jam. Okay, so instead of using private vehicles, the use of public transport system saves money also. Institution that provides passenger transport services: Department of Railways Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka Transport Board, SLTB, we are calling CTB buses, Sri Lanka Transport Board, private bus transport service. Sri Lanka Railway Service and the private sector supply services for transport of goods. We discussed, especially lubricants also. Sri Lanka Transport Board and Sri Lanka Railway supply services for the daily travelers like employees and school students with season ticket system on concessionary rates. I think nowadays the students, you don't have such experience, but anyway some students they have. In our period, most of the students they had especially season ticket for concessionary rates. Special Services of Sri Lanka Transport Board. Sisu Sarrier for school children. This is very common thing nowadays. Gami Sarrier. But I don't have that much experience about the Gamis area, but there are for the convenience of transport in rural areas. Private sector too contributes to facilitate the transport of a student. Sri Lanka Transport Board and the private bus service have introduced latest model luxury buses to run on expressways. They have also taken steps to maintain intercity express bus services. Do you know there are intercity express bus services also? Sri Lanka Railway Service too maintains intercity express railway service. Do you have experience with these express railway service? It's a nice one. Given below are the staff of a depot of the Lanka Transport Board that contributes to supply services. Depot manager, assistant depot managers, depot inspectors, foremen, technicians, drivers, conductors, laborers. Steps taken by the government to make the public transport service efficient. Maintenance and repairing of roads. Now we can see highways. Those are really important, very good. So we can go easily. Construction of expressways. Addition of new buses to run on roads. Addition of new railway compartments and engines to the system. These are very important. Providing incentives to the private bus services to improve their service. Okay, nowadays we can see, because in the television also they discussed about the incentives. So so from those things we can see these drivers and the conductors, they are giving a good service, because to improve their service, all those things are doing to improve their service. Establishments of legal protections for passengers as well. Now here you can see a luxury bus running on an expressway. Now there's an activity list of the benefits you gain by using public transport services. Name the working staff, title or else designations of a railway station. Suggested proposals to improve the public transport services in your area. Now electricity. A frequent breakdown of a power supply occurred for 2 days due to a sudden technical defeat of a powerhouse. A media institution consulted various persons to collect information regarding the difficulties they encountered as a result of this. Okay, now Putala, can you live without electricity? Nowadays you are studying from the electricity, because nowadays you have to attend for the online classes, and also all the people, they use that mean natural ways to get the to get the power, especially to lighten their houses and all. But nowadays we can't do such things. We are not used for such living conditions. That means everything we have to do, especially if you want to grind something, you have to use the power, electricity power, or else if it is the hot, that mean hot climatic condition, you have to get the support from your fan. So for each and everything you have to get the support from the electricity. So we can't live without electricity nowadays actually. So as a school student, I could not do the homework yesterday. I could not iron my school uniforms either. Mother prepares food every day. Since we did not have electricity yesterday, she failed to do even that. Okay. Now Putala, you don't have such experience, because that much in our period, that means since 1990s, they have experience with that. We use natural ways to iron our uniforms and all. There are some irons, some people they use them, because they use some burning coconut shells into that iron, and from that they nicely iron their clothes and all. Okay, so even the old people, they did everything without the electricity. But nowadays people, they use to electricity to do their everything. Okay, now here this student is telling, he is saying even his mother, that means he couldn't make his meal also. She fell for that. We also could not watch television. The students could not computer lab in the school, we faced a lot of inconveniences. They are facing a lot of problems. Above investment, ice cream, fish meat, and many other products had to be discarded. They got spoiled on the other days. People come to buy things in the evening, but yesterday only a few number of consumers came. We suffered great losses. We especially the meat and all fresh items, especially ice cream and all. So if we can't keep them for a long time without electricity, because all those things are we stored in the fridge, so we can't, that means if there is a big power cut, so those things can spoil. So manager of a garment factory, our production was disrupted. Yesterday, 2 shifts failed. However, we should appreciate the officers for their attempt taken to complete the repair of work today itself. Okay. Due to the industrial and the technological development, human needs are becoming more and more complex. Electricity became an essential service for the existing society. Electricity had been supplied to 98.5% of the household units of Sri Lanka by 2015. Central Bank Annual Report 2015. These factors got from the Central Bank Annual Report. Okay. Now here you have to underline this percentage for the 98.5. The target of the government is to supply electricity for all the houses in Sri Lanka soon in future. So, electricity is essential to perform the following functions. Now here, electricity for hospitals. Now you can see here, they are doing a surgery or something like that. To light the houses and for household work, for health services, for industrial needs, for necessities of trade institutions, to light the streets, to carry out various other services including communication. Ceylon Electricity Board supplies electricity to most part of the country. Lanka Electricity Company, private limited, to contribute to supply electricity. Okay, there are government sector. Now you can see here private sector too, but both them are giving a public service. Okay, they are giving public service. Regional officers of Ceylon Electricity Board (CEB) consist of the following working staff. Putala, these short forms are very important. In exam, they ask you to write the full form of them. Regional Electrical Engineer, Assistant Electrical Engineer, Electrical Superintendent, Foreman, Clerical Staff, Electricians, Linesmen, Field Officers, Meter Readers, Drivers. Now you can see here, meter readers, they are coming to your home, and electricians, so these people are very important. Now here electricity for industry, so if there is a power cut, they can't work without the electricity, so then electricity hasn't become a very important source nowadays. Now there's an activity. State the services rendered by the regional office in your area related to the supply of electricity. Maintain the disadvantages that might occur to the economy of the country when a breakdown of power supply take place. Now you know. Okay, Putala, next day I hope to come with these communication services. See you soon.